Today's statue has taken me 3 years to prepare for. Now, I'm just playing. The studio took 3 years to make each statue to form together Ino-Shika-Cho. I don't know about you, but if there's one thing they didn't do enough of in this series, it's formations, right? When multiple people come together to create combinations like we see with these 3 individuals. Today's statues are made by STR Studio. Again, there's going to be 3 different ones. If you're ever interested in purchasing statues, be sure to check out my links in the descriptions, as well as any other materials you need for collecting or bringing your collection to life. Please do check those out. Anytime you use links on my channel, they do help me out greatly. Thank you so much. Without delay, let's jump on in and take a look at first Choji. Out of the 3 statues, by far Choji's box is the largest. We'll see here, him with that bluish tint on the front, and then taking a look at the base, we'll see STR's logo at the very top, the Akamichi logo in the center there, and then also the edition size of 500 mil. That's actually quite a large size for such a niche character. We have the clan symbol on the front as well with a blackish kind of oval shaped base. We have this rock that's going to support both him and also the effects. They're going to be bursting out from the ground and also from his back. For the effect pieces, they went with this transparent resin with kind of a light purple pink tone added onto it. On the bottom is a steel rod and a notch that's going to allow it to sit onto the base. Now this is the smaller of the effect pieces. We have the right size, which is the larger one here. Now there's also some awesome butterflies that go on there. We all know how those correspond to him and how gentle and kind he is as a person. In the series, we really didn't get to see much of these butterflies, but they did happen to make an appearance during his fight with Jirobo, which is actually kind of what's going to be brought to life here. Crazy enough, Choji is all one piece together. Now he attaches to the base similar to that of the left effect piece that we first saw with the steel rod and notch. As far as the outfit goes, it's not really like a battle damaged outfit. The clothing itself is actually pretty clean for this being somewhat of a battle scene. On the pant leg here to our right, we'll see that there is actually some painted on chakra aura that's emitting from his hand. Now, right in this moment, he did take those food pills, which accelerate the ability to convert his calories into chakra, so that power is beginning to form into his fist. Really crazy, cool, menacing looking, right? I love how Choji was this kind of character in the series that you almost wanted to feel bad for or make fun of, probably because of his weight, but how they turn the tables on us was incredible in the show. Not to mention as well, his headband basically looked like upside down underwear, right? One of the things you may notice is he actually has a lean to him. Now that's kind of intentional because he's not fully braced on the statue. We'll go through that later, how he does get reinforced. A special thanks again to Trexa, who did send me this card in a lot of super rare cards. I just want to showcase this, one of my favorite looking cards as far as the art goes. Again, everybody, if you want to send me something to my P.O. box, here it is, and you can check that out. Anything that you ever send has a chance to make it on the channel in a video. I would love to showcase that. But here we have the gorgeous chakra butterflies that formed behind Choji. These are extremely well done. I may be a bit of an oddball here, but this is actually taken from one of my favorite fights in the original Naruto series. It probably has to do with, and sorry if you're listening, my brother growing up was overweight and he got made fun of for it a lot. So to see someone in the series who was almost looked down upon because of his weight, to have this kind of turnaround moment where he could really shine and glow, I loved it so much. It was extremely memorable for me, and I love how this statue truly brings to life both the epicness of the butterfly form and also the power that he had in that moment. Though LEDs aren't baked into the statue, I did want to stick my spotlight behind the statue to show you how they could illuminate. That is kind of not really exactly a missed opportunity because these would be hard to wire and put lights behind. But here is how he looks all together. I love it. Now, taking a look at Ino's box, this one is kind of like where they cut corners a lot. This is an extremely smaller box. There's really no art boxes. There's a straight cardboard box. And here we have a look at her base, very similar to that of Choji's. One thing to notate is actually only 50 of hers were made in comparison to that of Choji, which were 500. So, unfortunately, Ino is probably just not that high of a demand character, so they didn't have enough sales to make them, but thank goodness they did actually complete the line and did make her. The Yamanaka clan is not known to have some type of flashy jutsu that's, coming to life in the statue. So kind of what this is going to be here is an artistic interpretation, bringing to life maybe one of her abilities. And this statue overall, I think, just looks pretty. It's really awesome how it comes together. Best represents her character in the show. And if we see how these kind of come together, we have those awesome looking yellow petals that are baked all throughout and painted onto there. And one cool thing to notice is once you get all this together, you can kind of see the formation, where we're going here and how this is going to come to life. It actually looks like a heart. Now, most people love to collect those epic, dynamic statues, so I can definitely see why sales might have been lower for this one, just for the overall presence of the character being what it is. And though the edition size was smaller, they did not cut back on the quality when it comes to her actual sculpt or the paint job at all. So everything is perfectly done in my opinion. So we are capturing that mind transfer jutsu that she does showcase in the show. Not too often, but she has the perfect pose. It's interesting too, because like her pose that she uses, her hand formation with her hands is different from that of her father's. I'm not sure if there's just different forms that they use. I have to say, of all the clans in the series, this is one that I'm not as truly familiar with or recall all the details for. Rotating her head a little bit, you can see that they absolutely nailed that head sculpt, though it looks perfect. Just like everything else so far, it keys in to the base with that steel rod. Taking a step back, here she is. So an overall, a very pretty, accurate statue representing her character, her main jutsu pose. We have the flowers on the bottom as well, right? Her parents were the flower shop owners. So perfect statue for her. What a drag. We have Shikamaru coming in. His box looks similar to that of Choji's. We have the Nara Clan symbol on the back and also on the bottom of the base with STR's logo up top again. Now for him, 300 were made, so not as much as Choji's, but definitely a lot more than Ino's. For continuity, I did love the fact that they have all of the clan symbols on the front as icons rather than like headbands or their actual names or something. But this one's going for a more organic, grassy looking base here with some rock on the back and around the sides. One thing I hope to see in the future is that somebody does remake statues similar to this with them in their Shippuden outfits later on in the series. Now here we have a separate piece that's going to be sculpted. It's a large tree trunk, and then we have some of the shadow jutsu around the sides that's wrapping around. Here's the notch with the magnet inside. That's how it's going to attach to the base. But there is that wrapping around the tree, and we'll see a notch back here that something's going to be attaching to for that. And if we look at the very tip of this, you'll see kind of like a slit or a line. There is a purpose for that. We'll go over later what's going to be wrapping around there, but for now we just plug it right in and it keys into the base. Another even larger tree trunk was sculpted that's going to go on the other side. So this one, there's not as much going on to it as there was with the other one here, but it does serve a purpose. At the very top, you'll see this is actually something that I tied on, so it comes separate, a string with a bunch of paper bombs attached to it. The studio also did a good job bringing to life those paper bombs with all those effect markings that we normally see on there. So with this out of the way, we'll go ahead and just key it into the base like the other one with a large magnet that's in the trunk. Sculpted separately, they have this awesome shadow sewing or shadow stitching type of piece that's going to be coming around the side. So it's actually going to attach to the tree trunk that we see on screen to the left. There's a notch that's going to connect to, and pretty much it looks like just transparent resin that they painted black there. So we have one that keys into the bottom of the left, and on the top as well, it keys in there so it sturdily stays into place. For the black string and paper bombs, there's really no right or wrong way to do this. It didn't come with any instructions or how to. So really, you want to try to position it as best as you can. The slits that were in the top of the trees help you to kind of wrap the string around to it. For me, what I did is I actually just picked it up and put a little bit of that string underneath the tree trunk so it held it into place. Once you get it kind of a little bit tighter so it does hang there properly. But you're gonna have to forgive me here. There's a lot of fumbling that goes on to try to get this properly into place. But once you get in there, it does look cool the way that it comes together. All right, so with that done and out of the way, you can connect this however you want to. I believe it also connects to the tip of the shadow sewing. You can see on the right side there, the black tip if you want to. But here we can take a look at Shikamaru here. Now, this is probably the skin tone is a little bit more tan than I'd come to expect from him. Maybe it's just my camera, but it does look a little bit too tan in person. So that's something they probably could have improved on. But the overall sculpt is good. So on the bottom, he has a magnet that allows him to sit in the base a little bit better. The Ninja Tool pouch looks good as well. And everything else about the outfit, it's kind of got like a muted, darker tone to it. But with the color imperfections aside, right, we have the representation of the character that we know to be lazy, and the way that he's just sitting here looking like he is absolutely and utterly bored. I don't know, is he practicing from training? What scene this is taken from exactly? So we know it's not him versus Hidan, because that's way later in the series here, but definitely you can see he is extremely bored. To add to his boredom, he is literally spinning around his finger like a fidget spinner, a kunai, so we can see it live in motion here, the way they sculpted that kind of spinning effect onto it. Just fits right on and slides on to the finger. It is a little loose, so it doesn't, risk snapping off the finger, so you can position it any which way that you want to. But coming together, we got a little bit of boredom going on. We have the jutsu representation. We have some of the paper bombs, kind of showcasing what he can do in the future going on here. But taking a look at all the statues together, I will point out and say that there's a little bit of dislocation with all of them, where they don't feel like they go together, feel like they're from the same line, which they came from the same studio. So that's one thing I would have loved to have seen or see in the future, is statues that do kind of accent each other better. But I hope you enjoyed today's showcase. Thankfully, we finally get to see Ino-Shika-Cho on the channel. Hope you enjoyed yourself. I'll see you in the next video. As always, do what you love and love what you do. Bam out.